How to handle the banks crashing. Hi, I'm Brian Pombo. Welcome back to Brian J. Pombo Live. Now, I'm not going to downplay the fact that it appears that the entire global economy is crashing all around us. And not only that, I mean, things are going crazy all over the world. We're probably on the brink of World War III and everything else. The real question is how do you handle the banks crashing? How do you handle these horrific situations that only seem to increase with time? And that's if you're paying attention to the news. If you're not, forget everything I said, because honestly, I'm not sure that it matters much to you in general, except for just understanding that these things are happening. The most important thing to understand when you're handling chaos in the world, which is always there, whether it's being reported or not, it's always there. There's always some chaotic thing. Someone is always losing. Something is always being destroyed. How do you handle it? And whether you have, obviously, if you have money in said banks, you may handle it a little differently than anybody else. But regardless of whether it directly affects you immediately or not, the same thing's true across the board. You can't do really anything about it in most cases. You probably do not have a position on the whatever it is at any given Federal Reserve Board or what have you, where you would actually have a say. Chances are you're not that person. If you are, you're going to handle it a little bit differently. In general, you probably don't have much control over what's happening or what's going to happen, whether it's this chaotic situation or something else. So how do you handle it? You got to be calm. There's no way around it. You have to take it easy and just say, okay, now what? What can I do? What can I do that has nothing to do with this, but that will propel things forward for me and me and my family, or what have you, whatever your perspective is. What's next? What should I be focused on right now? And don't overreact to a situation just because it seems worse or not worse, serious or not serious. The best thing to do is just to see it and then step back and pay attention. Pay attention to that inner voice that kind of directs you. It'll direct you. It'll tell you what the right thing to do is and how to handle things properly. But it only happens, really, if you think about it, it only happens when you're calm. It only happens when you're not too excited in a good, positive way, or too excited in a negative, horrible way. You can't be scared. You can't get angry. You just see it for what it is. It doesn't mean you have to be happy about it, but see it for what you can tell what it is, for what you can see. If there's a fire going on over here, you don't walk into the fire unless you have a good reason for it. You walk in the other side of the street. You do everything you can. But in general, most of this stuff doesn't affect you anyways. It will affect you in the long run. I'm not saying that the banks crashing isn't going to affect everybody. It will. And the way that you voted and your parents voted and your grandparents voted led to situations that we're currently in. Everything affects everything else. But on the same end, you can't overreact to an outrageous situation just because it affects more people. It doesn't need to affect you in that way. And you can always find a way around these scenarios. So, it's just a little tip from me to you. It doesn't matter whether it's the banks crashing or whether it is another pandemic or anything else. You got to keep it calm and you'll figure out what the right thing to do is, and you keep buggering on, as they say. So that's all I got for tonight. You have a good one. We'll be back tomorrow. Go check out my training all on content marketing, and whether it's right for you or not, contentmarketingquestion.com. See you next time. In the meantime, get out there and let the magic happen.